Hi there, Robin here from Expert On. Today we're going to be talking about a mixer, and it's from Gemini. It's one of the consumer brands that we carry here, and it's really exciting because it does have a lot of features. First of all, it does come in a pretty box. Nice, colorful, lots of, things being said about it on the box. It's going to be the the GEM-08 USB mixer. Funny enough, they call it a USB mixer, but it's actually an MP3 mixer with Bluetooth on it. It doesn't actually connect to your computer. That being said, it's an awesome mixer to the point that we did bring a sample in originally, and then we decided to carry it here in the showroom. Why? Because the Bluetooth is really good. And the overall functions of the mixer are really good as well. Now, they do call it an 8-channel mixer, but in my eyes, the way I look at it, I'm going to call it a 6-channel. Now, don't think that Gemini is misleading you. They're not. There are other companies who look at a mixer like this and call it an 8-channel. We won't say names, but it's something like Mackie, I guess. But it's a thing. We're going to go through the whole mixer today. We're going to get a close-up look at it. We're going to cover all the features, the pros and cons about this mixer, and you're probably going to find a lot more pros than cons yourself. So let's have a closer look at the actual mixer. What do we have on the actual unit? Well, we've got 2 mic inputs on channel 1 and 2. Then on channel 3 and 4, we're going to see TRS or TR, 1/4-inch adapters, and that's going to be for both channel 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. Those are the inputs that are being used up on top here for channel 7 and 8 on the actual auxiliary return option, which isn't going to give us any additional features like bass and treble or mid-range controls, nor will it have effects or balance options on it. But that's for only channels 7 and 8 on the auxiliary return, located right down at the bottom right here. So when we're actually looking at the first 2 channels with microphone control, we're going to get gain controls on that, which is going to go from 20 to 60 dB as an increase, which is a real nice gain control option. Remember, your mics are always going to go into the XLR input, thus it says mic 2, mic 1 input, and then it says line 1, line 2. So your line inputs here, anything but a microphone goes down here, mics always go up on top. Then at the bottom, we're going to have our first 2 buttons that we see right on top of line 1 and 2, low cut filters. Then we're going to have our high, mids, and low control options, which are going to go from a -15 to a +15 gain control on that as well. Effects control, because it does have effects located right here, and it's just a proportionate effects option. So we are going to be able to control the levels of those 2. And then we have a pan option, so we can move the sound from the left to the right just by using these knobs here. At the very bottom, we're going to have a scale of 0 to 10 on the level output, so we can decide how proportionally we want to have each unit to be. Then we fall into channel line 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. They're also going to have buttons located on top, and that's basically to knock the sound down by 10 dB by simply pushing this in. If you're too overmodulated, you can knock it down. Then you're going to have your next 3 knobs, which are going to be your high, mid, and low control. They are certainly nice to have on inputs, like let's say if we have our TV or computer or any other piece of equipment plugged in, we're going to be able to adjust the sound on those. They still offer effects on these 2 channels here, though unless you're actually using a microphone system that has a switchable system between mic and line output. The Gemini happens to have that on their UHF 6100 and 6200 series, where there's physically a switch in the back to allow you to plug those type of microphones into here. Or if you're using a Pile portable microphone system like the PDWM 12 or 13 UH, those do come out at a line level, and they do come with 1/4-inch outputs on them, so they'll be able to plug into there as well. Outside of that, when we get back to the unit, again, that's why we're talking about those microphone options for the effects that are here. And then we have a balance option. If we plug just into the left channels on top here, it'll be mono, and in which case our balance control from left to right will then turn into an actual pan between the left and right. Then of course they both have a 0 to 10 on the level outputs at the bottom. That's going to cover our first 6 channels. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 across the bottom. Now there is one special feature about channel 5 and 6, and that channel 5 and 6 is also connected to the Bluetooth and MP3 player options built right into the top of the unit. Remember, if you're going to use a Bluetooth, you're going to want to hold this button down for at least 3 to 5 seconds to get this light to start flashing. That means it's in pairing mode, and you can now connect it to your TV, your phone, your tablet by simply doing that. Now, if your laptop also has Bluetooth, for sure you can connect it that way as well. Then we get down to the last row. The bottom knob, again, it's still an amber knob, and it says 7 and 8 aux return on it, and that makes reference to these two channels. The last channel, 7 and 8, on the aux return on top. Now notice there is no bass, mid controls or highs on this. There's no effects options. This is simply going to allow me to mix these two channels, if I'm using as return channels, on there, and it'll overlap on the rest of the system. Then we have our main level output control, which is going to go from a gradual increase all the way to 0 dB to a plus 10 dB option on top. We also have then our dynamic level control for our output is going to start only at -20. Then it goes straight to 0, +6, and then clip. So it would have been nicer if there were more LED lights here, but it's nice to have some. I've seen some where there's only like 3, not even 4 as a gradual scale. Try and keep yourself at 0 most of the time. If you're seeing +6, that's a lot. That's pretty hot. So you definitely want to back off. You don't want to be in the yellow. You want to stay active around 0 or +2 on that. For the output options, you've got on top, you've got a headphone, you've got your control room left and right, you've got your main left and right. Remember, they're all balanced and unbalanced connections. Of course, the headphone's always going to be balanced because it's a stereo output for your headphones. On the very top, you do have RCA input and output, and that is all part of the 2-track in or record out options. So I don't tend to use the RCAs. I'll pull out adapters more often than not when needed. So if I want to plug something in and I want to have bass and treble control, which is probably the best way to hook anything into it, use the adapters or get the proper cables. For the effects, they're pretty straightforward. I'm going to give a little demonstration of what we got going on here. So we bring this up here. Now we have the speaker, and we're going to go with that. So if I bring up the effects and I'm on number 1, we'll make that a little louder. So once we actually decide how loud we want the effects to be proportionate to the main, we can then decide how much effects we actually want. And there you go with the effects. You can bring them all the way up to the top. And if you want them to really be predominant and noticeable, I can turn that up pretty loud. But that's it for the effects. That's what's built into it. So it's a good bass option. A lot of people do buy this unit for karaoke because it's a great system to have at home for karaoke. So I really think that the effects in there, the fact that we can increase it and increase the intensity of it on the delay, plus the fact that we can really crank up the amount of effects we're going to get, is a good thing to have. Outside of that, it all comes down to how you plan on using it. Again, if you're GarageBand or you need something portable to add to your speaker system, not a bad option. If you're buying it for karaoke options, for home personal use, not a bad option. So when we're looking at the actual Gemini mixer, a lot of the reasons why we brought it in here, it's because it had Bluetooth. We did try it out at first because we're a dealer up here for Gemini, and we have bought in stock of this unit. Now, I know they call it an 8-channel mixer, and that's okay because Mackie's done the same thing with some of their models where they've looked at it this way and said, oh, it's an 8-channel mixer. I personally look at it and think of it more as a 6-channel mixer. But remember, the icing on the cake here is Bluetooth. Try and find a mixer out there that's pretty good quality that has Bluetooth on it. So if you are looking for a mixer to do stuff like karaoke at home, you're probably going to want to look at one of these guys. Now remember, this USB option does not plug into your computer, but that's all right at that price point. If you did want to have that option, you would then probably be looking at the Pile PMXU 63 or 83 BT, roughly in the same price, with overall the same features, but you would actually get a USB option to your computer included in the box. Outside of that, I do like how this machine works. I do like how easy it is to operate, and I do like the fact that I get virtually no background noise whatsoever out of the machine. Price points are very reasonable with it. And if you do want to use it for a standard setup, for a basic connection for a podcast or something, I probably buy into the Pile machine instead of this one. It does have phantom power on it, and you can plug it into your computer, but not, again, via USB. So you'd have to take options to have a sound card or an audio interface. So at that point, you might as well just get something a little bit better, feature-wise. Outside of that, I like it. We have lots of stock of it. I think it's going to be very, very popular. It is nice to see Gemini get back into the actual mixers, because I know they've been focusing a lot on their controllers. But mixers are really, really popular. And if you look, we do a lot of mixers here. So out of the 40 plus some odd mixers we've looked at, this is only the second brand to have Bluetooth on it. So that's real important when you're looking at it. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. Always happy to try and get into those and see what we can do answer-wise on that. But in the meantime, if you subscribed, I want to say thank you very much. If you haven't, there's no reason why you can't hit that subscribe button. And we'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.